It's not a question of how far you're gonna go. The real question is, do you have the fortitude to go as far as is needed? How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Trailmakers Creations by ThatDomGuy. First things first, I noticed you guys enjoyed the two viewer request video, last video. If you haven't seen that yet, click on it up here. So this time, I think I'm going to go for 3. Let's see if we can do 3 viewer requests in this video. First one is this one right here. I had a request to build a trebuchet. Now, in real life, physics works a certain way. A trebuchet works. In Trailmakers, not so much. Gravity and weight and distribution is not the way it is in reality, and these materials don't quite hold up like real materials. So, I built a Catapult. It's half trebuchet, half catapult. And it works surprisingly well. It's got really wicked range, actually. As we can see, it's a fairly simple build as well. Down at the bottom here, we've got some hinges that are set on 0 strength, so they're just free-floating hinges. We've got a set of hinges right in there as well, in between those pistons. And then up at the top, some more free-floating hinges. So those don't actually have any controls. And then we just have these pistons all set to, I think the speed is set to 50. And it's built in like this. We'll jump in and go into build mode just so you can see how that's set up. So in build mode here, you can see that it's just basically these 3 sets of pistons come down, connect to these 2 sets of pistons here to give us a basically a chain effect in between. Up top here we just have our free floating servos as well, with a distance sensor and a little trigger sticking out here. Distance sensor is connected to our 2 disconnectable blocks back here. Those will disconnect and launch our payload of 4 dynamite sticks, a 30 kilo weight, and 3 fire pits, sorry. Which actually gets fairly decent distance, and again, the fire is there to make it look like a flaming fireball. And that's about it. This is just reinforced here to try and keep this whole thing together. It's actually a fairly straightforward build, pretty simple, nothing too complicated. Let's have a look and see at the action of the Catapult. So I can fire from here, and it will literally fire right past the end of the aircraft carrier. I can't even land it on the aircraft carrier. So I usually wait till it's just coming down, hit space, boom. As you can see, there goes our payload. And right past the end. He's got good range, man. It's also on a pivoting base, so you can't rotate it. And again, great way to make a pivoting base, as we can see in here. If you need to make something with a wide base that has a lot of weight distribution, trying to balance it on one servo can be tricky. The servos aren't that strong. So what I actually do is under here, you'll see that I've got a bunch of angle sensors facing upwards. Seeing as how there's no connection point on the front of the angle sensors, they basically just act as a sliding platform all the way around with a servo in the middle that rotates the platform on top, over top of the angle sensors. So they've got connection points on all the sides except for the front, so I just use the front as a flat surface for it to slide over top. That way you can have a wider base for your rotating, and you don't get as much wobble from those servos when you've got some weight on it. So for distance, just as an example, check this out. We'll jump in here. Let's go to the helipad. We'll jump out, come over near the edge here so we can actually see something. Now, what do you think the odds are of us being able to hit the aircraft carrier from here? No problem. So yeah, that's got really good range for something that doesn't fall apart as soon as you try and fire it. So that's already available in the shop. If you're looking for a catapult, might be a good thing to use for a couple of castle to castle, mountaintop to mountaintop ranged weapons. That's what we need, Dev. We need some melee weapons. Give us some spikes or axes or hammers or drills or something. Saw blades. Need some melee weapons for our demolition derbies. Alright, let's see what else we got. So, a few days ago, I think it's probably 4 now. I'll have to check the comments to see. I believe the last one was day 3 of asking ThatDomGuy to build a bomber. So, I started building this. Now, it's probably one of the most complicated bombers I've ever built, but it looks really cool. Functionality, I'm going to give it like a 85%. It works pretty well, just not as well as I was hoping it would. So this is basically the design. I still have no idea what I'm going to call it. I'm on a, I don't know, maybe the Phoenix Bomber. You'll see why in a second. Leave a comment down below if you can think of a good name for this thing. I haven't uploaded it yet, so when I get a decent name, I'll upload it if anybody's interested. So as we can see, we have some wings that are folded up. We have a tail that is folded up. This is a VTOL Bomber, which is also a transforming bomber as well. We got the unique looking front end here. I think that looks pretty cool for a bomber. Lots of red lights. You can see there's spinning red light underneath there. That is because underneath we have many bombs with red siren lights connected to the tip of each one. So I believe there's 12 or 16 in there. That was fully loaded, but then as soon as I released them all sequentially, they wouldn't fall out. They'd all jam against the back as you're flying, and they actually wouldn't fall out. I tried putting magnets on top to push them out, but that didn't work either. It just added weight to the whole thing. So I had to reduce the amount on the side so that they actually fall out, and it still takes a bit of jostling to get them to fall out of the bomb bay. Get them to fall out of the bomb bay! And yes, there are a few gimbal jets on here. I reluctantly use them, but they just work. They just work the way gimbal jets should. So let's take a look at this thing in action. Again, fairly complex, over 500, near 600 complexity. We jump in the seat here. We hit, and this is where again you need like 7 fingers on one hand to fly this thing. So V is your vertical takeoff. Space is your forward thrust, which also gives you a bit of vertical lift at first until the turbines or the engines rotate. Then E is to extend your wings and open up the body into flight mode. Number 1 opens the bomb bays, and Q drops the bombs. I know, right? Could you make it any more complicated? But let's see what it looks like in action. So V. Space and E. We are airborne. So this doesn't have any other weapons other than the bombs that are in the bomb bay. So number 1 opens up the bomb bay doors. Let's make sure we're not about to fly into anything here, which of course we were. So if we wanted to bomb that, so then we hit number 1. Oh no, not number 1, sorry, my bad. Q. And they sequentially release, and as you can see, they all just jam up on the inside. And you kind of got to do a stall. And then they all fall out. Whoa! Just about blow yourself up. That's the only downside. I'm trying to find a way to get those to actually eject out of there. Might actually, one of the only options was to have them on pistons that actually extend and then disconnect, so then they get dropped out of the body of the plane without actually getting stuck inside the plane. But that was a viewer request, that's why it took me a few days. Sorry for the delay, but yeah, it was, I kind of got into this build. I was like, hey, right on, let's make this bomber fold up. I think at VTOL, but we'll do it a little different. So landing this thing is a totally different story altogether. Right, so we basically hit E, pull down V for our vertical, and then try and bring it down to the ground. Nice and easy, nice and easy. little bit broken, but hey, it's I'm surprised it didn't fall apart altogether. Very difficult to land this thing. Definitely takes some piloting skill. So yeah, give me a name for this thing. I don't know. This what is it? This is the Phoenix Bomber. It's the, I don't know, something grandiose. May try and build another one that's a little more functional. Maybe not such a big cargo bay, put more weapons on it, hidden weapons of some kind, or just one big bomb that falls out of that cargo bay. Let me know. Leave a comment. Alright, let's go into the test zone and see what else we got for you. So recently I also had a request for a ground-based vehicle that could break the sound barrier. So I slapped this together. 2 UFO engines in the back. A couple of fire pits on there. The jet cockpit seat on the front. Some angled pieces. And let's see. One button. And hit number 1. $1,400 mile an hour. 1,400 kilometer an hour, sorry. Zero control. But it gets you to the edge of the map. Look at that, here we go. Oh. Do that again, hit number 1. I'm gonna do a circle, and then go in a straight line. And go boom. So yeah, that's a pretty easy way to create a sonic boomer. Ground vehicle anyways. I've tried it with wings on it. With wheels on it as well. The wheels just don't seem to want to turn that fast. Maybe you didn't have enough of them. But even the racing wheels didn't seem to work that well. This thing goes pretty fast in a hurry. And it's on the ground. So that's a supersonic ground vehicle. Another viewer request. Thanks for those requests, by the way. Keep them coming. Some of the stuff I can build. Some of the stuff, yeah, I'll give it a shot, but nothing guaranteed. You know what? Let's leave that there. Someone also requested me to build a vehicle that would just obliterate any other vehicles as well. So I decided to try and build a small tiny tank like this. It's just a little 6-wheeled vehicle. And then you hit number 1. All these cannons pop out. Got tank steering. As you can see, this thing annihilates anything in its path. High stuff, low stuff. It's got high cannons, low cannons. It's just really satisfying to watch all those guns pop out. Flip, 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 flip. Kind of looks like little spider legs coming out. Yeah, that's the Tiny Terror. Great use of those new little mini cannons. Tiny cannons. Tiny cannons. So yeah, I'll upload that to the shop as well. If you're looking for a small vehicle with a lot of destructive capabilities that's not using explosive cannons. Explosive cannons are too easy, they just blow stuff up. These you actually have to hit your target. You can take them apart a little slower too, so it's a little funner. You can actually survive it rather than just being blown to smithereens by an explosion. Yeah, Tiny Terror. Alright folks, that's all I got for you in this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. And we will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.